time learning from you, getting some insight from you. Now we can record. Funny stories are over. Now somebody's going to record. There we go. There we go. All that stuff's done. I want to jump into just a session of learning with you guys. Why questions, all kinds of stuff that's just going to, I think, foster so much creativity going forward, learning for me as I walk our executive leadership team through 2026 strategic planning. Just this is a really special time for me to get to do this with you and Gab to get to do this with you as well. So I'm going to shut up and let Gab jump in and get after it so we can make the most of the time with her.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, this is so fun. What a fun exercise, Brian. Love some embarrassing moments just to really settle settle us into what matters most, right? And one of the things and that I'm really passionate about and really being brought in to help lead conversations and initiatives around is, and it's in my title, is growth. So as a chief growth officer, really over marketing and sales. So my role, you'll see me a lot on webinars. You'll see me a lot kind of internally with the team on sales development and training, really helping to strategize the overall growth and marketing and making sure that we're consistent on what we're selling, what we're fulfilling on, and creating a really powerful customer experience. And so one of the things that we want to make sure on the sales and marketing side as we're growing is that we're fulfilling on the things that we're promising. So that fulfillment of promises is really important. So that way we continue.
Oh, she froze.
We lose her.
Yeah, we did.
Building-wide internet outage. I mean, and if you saw the offices Gabrielle's in, you'd be like, the internet should definitely not go out in that building. Okay, that's our offices. We're about to. There she is. We're about to relocate from Dallas to Atlanta, and we're letting go of our offices here in Dallas, and that building's internet should work. I know the lease.
Yeah.
I know the lease payment on that building. The internet should work.
Yeah, my actual office is being moved out of right now as we speak, actually. So I'm like in a hallway. So I'm thankful for you guys to be a little patient, but making sure we're fulfilling on the things we're promising. So I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that that we want to keep doing? Like, what are the things that we want to preserve? What are the things that you're like, no matter what we do as we grow and innovate, and there's been a lot of conversations around 2.0 and everything, but what are the things that you're like, this is what must not change? We have to maintain kind of this ethos of who we are, so that way we stay true to what makes us truly unique.
Well, I would say the Maxwell DNA, which I know that's a broad term, but in talking to so many people and hearing on Facebook comments and people who have joined other organizations or who have gone to other conferences, and they get the content, they get the teaching, and with Maxwell they get that community, that just supportiveness, that openness. Whereas, I've never heard people say there's cliques in Maxwell. People may think that, but I've never heard that. And that's pretty amazing for as long as this organization has been around, that people who have been on the team since the very beginning are so open to just embracing the new people and really making them feel nurtured, and just going out of our way. The Yes Desk, which Paul Martinelli created, that continues today, and that just yes DNA that we have.
That's good.
I think you probably heard me say this, and I'll give the other team opportunity. I think members first, right? Like Chris said, anything that we sell and we deliver from a marketing perspective, always think members first, anything that we do. And I think Antoinette mentioned the DNA. If we think member first, anything that we sell, anything that we offer, a members first perspective and what that's going to look like.
I have to agree with that. That's why I love working with Chris, because it is that member first. I love what I think it's in Jeff Henderson's book, Know What You Were For. He talks about the decisions at Chick-fil-A. And Dan Cathy said, is that a behind the counter decision or an in front of the counter decision? They need to be in front of the counter decisions. They need to be considered from a member perspective. What does this look like from someone who is not knowing what's going on behind what's going on with the company? I'm a member. I'm only sort of connected. What does this look like for me? And why should this matter? That's really, really what I'm passionate about.
And I'll just add that in the same vein, and I'll give you an example, as members first, when GYI was just an idea and it started to come to fruition, one of the things that I consistently emphasize with our team members is that GYI, yes, of course we want to lift and lead youth around the world. Of course we want to multiply our impact, but it's for you, the members, as well. And I find that John is always thinking of us. If it's a business decision, a program, a content decision, whatever it is, he always puts us first or right up there with the key goal and deliverable. And with GYI, I am reinforcing with team members, like, yes, this is for the youth, but this is for you too. Like, this was John's gift for us to go out and encourage us at the time to be in our in-person communities, to meet people, to make those connections. And that after GYI, you have that relationship, and it's up to you then to foster it and say, hey, yeah, I did a free youth event, but I can also do all of these incredible things. And just maintaining that the members are always, whatever we're doing, is the members are at the core of that, and how we can benefit the members. And one other thing that I will add that comes to mind for me, and this is one of the reasons why I joined the team, and I'm sure like everybody else here, there's lots of other programs we've either purchased or subscribed to, or been involved with, or explored. But the fact that we can still, I mean, Lorna and many people here have done an incredible job of putting some boundaries in place and the guidelines to say, yes, this is what I can do. This is, where we have to be careful, or I can't do this. But the fact that we still have so much, what I'm going to call creative license, to use the content in a way that fits into our business or that works for our clients is really incredible. And I believe that that's something that I know it's something that many of our coaches really honor and cherish. And that's something that I think we should continue, as opposed to being like, this is how you have to use it. This is what you can say. You can't say this, you can't do that. You can't brand, all of those things. I think you get the point, but that's something that I think is really important to our members to continue.
I have to agree, because when I joined the team, I had looked at other programs, and that's one of the things I liked about it, is I could do it whatever way I see fit. And I members say, well, why don't we have a general brochure about what we do? And I'm like, because everybody does it a little different. We serve so many different markets in so many different ways. Some are building a business, some are doing it for free, some of it are in their own company. There is no one size fits all brochure, but there's lots and lots of content. You decide how you want to use it.
I have something on how important it is when we are keep developing people, because I think that's part of the heart of Maxwell leadership, the philosophy of personal growth. As Mark said this a while ago, and I use it all the time. We are the #1 personal growth and leadership development company in the world. And I love that, because I believe that. And people are we're developing those people, but we're not just training the leaders, we're helping people become leaders wherever they are, like Lorna said, in their nonprofit, in their business, if they're an entrepreneur. And I think that's what sets us apart, is we continue to understand how important it is. And by developing people, I want to bring it back to this connection. Keep creating these connections, because I really believe that's the lifeline of our influence. When we learn to onboard, when we onboard those new members, that's how trust is built with us. That first connection, yes, they have it with the program advisor, but that next person that steps in and gives them a smile, And maybe if it's, live, maybe a hug. But what happens is that this is how they catch what they're supposed to do. It helps them fulfill their purpose. It multiplies their growth because they've connected with somebody and they feel connected. Stephen Covey said, without involvement, there's no commitment. We want them involved. We want them here as long as we're here. We don't want them coming for 1 year and then leaving the next. We want them to come back over and over again. So when we communicate, we're actually connecting. And that connecting is really, really important for me, especially at the beginning of the member's journey.
So good. Yeah, that's very helpful. Is there anything else that's on the what do we want to do more of? I'm curious from your perspective too, when it comes to creating closed loops of making promises and fulfilling on those promises. What are some things that you think that the members would say, no way, I can't believe that they did that? What are ways that we could just go above and beyond, that we could serve them, whether it's anticipating what they want or what they need, whether it's maybe something like a hard skill like insight or training around something, or maybe it's something around community or connection. But when you think about it, maybe in your own perspective, is Brian and I, you'll see a lot of times we start conversations brainstorming in the extreme of, what would it take if. And so I want to hear from y'all what that could look like when it comes to creating something that would surprise and delight our members, even if it feels crazy. Like Chris said, this is a safe space of us just saying, what would it look like if, like, what would make them feel like, I can't believe they thought of that too.
I don't have an idea to share at the moment, but this just came to mind for me, Gab, is that I have to say it's one of the things that we do really well, and it feels like we're always being surprised and delighted, and and when things happen, usually at IMC, that's a tall bar to top, because I would say we do it so well right now. And it's not to say that I won't have ideas, but that's just what came to mind when you said that. I'm like, wow, we're always doing that. And members always feel like they're being surprised and delighted from our perspective, being able to connect with so many team members. But I'm going to think of ideas.
I think some of the things that we've done inside of, you could call it a silo, but it's not, inside of Live to Lead, like the executive breakfast, like giving them gifts when they're there at IMC, just a continual, how do we continue to give to them, is an insane amount of energy that goes into it. And it's also my, like, probably greatest joy. But it's that continual process of thinking into how do we up level, so thank you for bringing that. And I think making that more of a broader focus maybe than what we do just inside of Live to Lead, like to go to the past, like we used to make a big deal about mentorship gifts in the room, and it really made the new certified person want that, but we made it ceremonial. And I think we made this with the last time we did the leadership game. It was like, oh my gosh, we've gotten so far away from creating energies in the room and being super intentional about holding doors and music blaring. And I think over time, because we've all been doing this for a long time, the things that wowed us, well, it's just easier not to. Well, it's just easier not to. It's just easier to not hold the doors. It's just easier to. And over time, we've lost some of the magic. Yes, there's still lots of magic, Donna. I agree with you. And any other organization, they would still think there's lots of magic. But I think because, oh, that's harder. Oh, that's one more thing. Oh, that over time, we've lost some of that magic. So thank you for bringing that.
Yeah, and I have to say, Bridget is awesome at this. What she's done for the Live to Lead host, she's been great at bringing in unexpected surprises that really do shock and awe and over the top, really make the host feel valued and important inside the room. I can look at some of the things we've done in the past. One of the things, oh, I think it was probably 2014, is our mentorship gift was a banner, our own banner. And when we first walked down the hall, there is just this, both sides of the hallway, everyone's banner was lined up. And what it was is we were all in a session, and then the staff was out there putting up all the banners while we were in a session. So when we came out, there's just this huge hallway of all our banners, and it was just incredible. The other thing that, and I know I've heard this time and again from members, is the city tour that Chris and Roddy are doing. They are just so incredible that they would take the time out of their busy schedule to come out to city after city after city, especially when Chris goes into the northern cities in the wintertime, and we all know how much he hates the cold. They just can't believe that you would take the time with no ask. It's just all about the members. And I think that is the biggest thing, is when you forget about, we need to sell them into the next step. We need to sell them something from this, and just make it a special experience for the members. As Bridget was saying with the mentorship gifts, it used to be that they were given out in the room, and it always had tissue paper or that crackly plastic that was wrapped in that, because of the sound that it makes when the people are opening it up. There's this sense of just like, what is this? It's like Christmas Day. Like, that there's a gift in there, and you hear all the crackling wrapping. The other thing was, at the IMCs, no one was allowed in the room until we were ready to start. The alumni came in, did the huddle, but the doors were closed. So, and we didn't, it was, no one was allowed to take pictures or videos or anything, so that when new members came in, they didn't know what that room was going to be like. They had no idea what to expect. And the doors were kept closed until we said, okay, we're ready. And then we blasted out the music. And it was, well, it was like walking into a disco party sometimes, but it has been described that way. But it was just that just experience of walking into this high energy music, people dancing. Wow, this is not the conference that I thought I was signing up for. This is not like any other conference I've ever been to. So that's not new ideas, but this is ideas that have, to me, have had an impact in the past, and hopefully will spark other ideas of where we can go with that.
I love that, Lorna. And I just want to add on to this factor of how important it is that it reminds me of Jesse Cole from L2L. And I am so enamored by him and what he does, because I am a high I. And so anytime we can make it fun, then we're going to make it memorable. And he does so many things. And I think that we can take a lot from that. And adding an element of delight. And so we've done a lot of things. And Lauren, I love that. When we would go into a live event, people are standing on the chairs, waving their hands and dancing. People don't see that at an ordinary conference. And so that's something that always has reminded me of fun and uplight and connection and keeping things kind of fresh and new. But I remember last August, we did the hallway party, and the hallway party is just a hallway party. But last August, or I shouldn't say last, it was not very long ago, right? But they did the hallway party, they did the dancing, and they had the music. And it was loud. We were in the gear store and everything. People say, this is loud. But it drew everyone's attention. And it wasn't just about, the performance, but it was about the presence and creating those moments where people go, yeah, they had this great party and everybody had a lot of energy. And it created those moments where people go, look at that, look at that. And they'd stop and they'd talk to someone. Maybe they'd meet someone new that they never met before. So those kind of moments where people, especially members, when they come into a live event, they don't know anyone most of the time, except for maybe their PA or the person they onboarded, or maybe a few other people. But this connects them to each other. And we know when they do their personal speech or talk at the table during the live event, that once that section is over, everyone feels more connection with each other because they all got to share a vulnerable moment, just like we did in this meeting, because that's what you did. That's why you asked that question. What's the funniest thing? So I think that's turning those normal moments into memorable moments. And it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes some great creativity with great minds that think alike.
One thing that comes to mind for me is around the certificates at the end, and we have changed it over the years, and this may be an area that we can look at. The process that we're doing now is that the certificates are on the table and people get to fill in their own names at the end. When you're newly certified, people are really, really excited, and it could be an opportunity that that maybe we can make it feel a little bit more celebratory or more of an accomplishment than filling in your own name. Now, I say that recognizing that there's a lot behind the scenes that would need to happen to do that differently. I completely get that. And I guess we'd have to do a cost benefit analysis to figure out, is it worth the cost to have a certificate printed up with somebody's name on it and so on? What would that look like? I just feel like it could be, because it doesn't matter necessarily to everybody, but it matters to a lot of people. Like, it's a big deal. It's a huge accomplishment that they made their way there. They made the investment. They went through the online platform learnings. They finally made it to IMC, and now they're actually certified. I'm just wondering if that could be an area where we could up level.
Yeah, one of the things, I'm in a unique situation too. I think to tie all this together with me seeing things, I think what we need to do is continually challenge the process and remember we need to make people feel important. That's number one, right? That everything that was talked about there, I'm writing down, like the coins, we talked about that. That has kind of gone by the wayside. Their certificates gone by the wayside. It's more of a check off, right? We've checked it off. We've done it, checked it off the list, but we're not making it impactful. We're not making it feel important. Time in the hallways. I think, some of these members look up to the people on the screen here, and we're a big deal. When, I'll speak for myself. I'm the lowest person. I'm not that big a deal. But you forget that, right? They see you on Facebook. We got to make time, make people feel important. The huddle, right? I think the huddle is another example that's kind of gotten wayside. The culture awards, which is a hot topic right now, we're just rushing through that. And I'm okay to change, but if we're going to do it, we should honor it and do it the right way. But yeah, I think it just goes back to making sure we're making people feel important.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mike on the check boxes with the coins and that. Well, I would have to go back probably about 6 or 7 years. It used to be the alumni actually pinned the new members. We each got a pin, and that was a big deal because we handed out the pins, and the alumni at the table actually went around and said, "Welcome to the team," and pinned them. It was a real ceremony kind of thing. And handing out the coins, it was handing them. It's not just that they're on the table. They were handed out by the alumni. Here, this is your coin. Welcome to the team. Congratulations. That personal touch of member to member, because I know one thing, and I know Chris will agree with this, is we always remember who was our first alumni table host. You can be in the team for 15 years and you always remember who was the first person that welcomed you to the team, and that's at that table. That's why we need the alumni in the room to welcome those new members at the very start and not be out of the room during the stories as sharing the stories. It really helps create that connection and that personal touch point of the personally handing them rather than just it being on the table.
And I apologize if I missed the huddle piece, because we talked about, I think we were talking about alumni huddle, but there was a time when we did the hallway huddles as well. Was that touched upon yet? Because those were powerful. And not only were they powerful for the people that were new, it's also such an incredible opportunity for some of our team members as well to be involved and engaged in that, to be asked to be part of a hallway huddle where you get to be in front of members as the preparation is happening inside the room, the excitement is building. But it goes, a couple of different ways. For the new members, very powerful. For current members and alumni to be able to stand there and be able to welcome them. And, there were games and, it was just a really great opportunity for engagement. And we have the hallway party, but I feel like the members like the hallway party and they get a lot out of it. It doesn't give us as much opportunity to interact. So it's something that we might be able to look at. But I think bringing back the hallway huddle before we're opening the doors would definitely up level the experience.
I have something else to add that we used to do. And I hope this isn't like, let's just bring everything back from the past and we'll change it for the future, right? No, this is about ideas that we had that were small. Some of them cost a little more, but they made a big impact, especially people who were returning. We're not just talking the new members. We have some members. I have a couple friends that joined maybe 5 years ago. They come to every live event. They said, I will never miss. Why? Because it's their 6-month kick in the butt. Let's get motivated, right? Or something of that nature that gets them moving and gets that energy going. But I remember when alumni would get 5 or 6 thank you notes. They were just a slide card with an envelope, and we'd write it to a new member. New member, we're so excited you're here. We love you. We're here to help you grow, whatever it is that you want to say. And then you would hand it out to those people. And I thought about it because I found some of my old cards. I took a few from the one event, right? Because I thought, what a great idea to really connect again with, and I think it's connecting again with the new member and the returning member, because we want them returning over and over again, and we want to bring in their kids, right, Donna? And I do remember my first table host, but I have a guy that's on our team. Everyone knows him. His name's Jeff Willie. I was his alumni person on his team. Every time I see him, he introduces me as his first person that he ever met as an alumni at his team table when he first got certified. And we're talking 10 years. 10 years later, he still says that. So that is a big one, Lorna. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Super good. This is amazing. I'm taking so many notes. Gab, I don't know about you.
So many notes. No, this is really helpful. And just, it's fun talking to you guys too, and just hearing the passion that you have for creating a sense of belonging in our members, and that's something that we will never lose is this sense of when you walk into the doors at IMC or you log on your first call or you log into the portal, is giving them something that they've never felt before. Because so many times we can feel so isolated, and overcoming that myth that leadership is lonely and that you have to do this on your own, and I think that that's why this is such a community and such a family that lasts. And I'm not saying anything you guys don't know how unusual it is, and such a spectacular and special way of what is it that we get to create, and it's advocating for others. And so I love the creativity here as well. You guys will learn both of our hearts, Brian and my heart, but I tend to be more of the, like we did an event once and I'm sitting there on stage and I just felt really strongly like, we need to create a feel it moment with this event. It was a small event, less than 100 people. And so I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to go on stage, and I'm texting my assistant at the time all of the names of the people who are, or I took a screenshot of everyone who is attending this event. And I said, I want you to write thank you notes it was a book writing event, from future readers of this book. And I happened to, so then I looked up the title of the book that they said that they wanted to write, and and I really just felt strongly that we had to give them this moment of making it worth it. For if it was just one person who read this book, it'd be worth it. So she's in the back, she's beautiful handwriting all these notes, and then like 30 minutes later, we're handing them out to everybody, and the rest of the team's freaking out, like it wasn't on the plan, it wasn't whatever, and we handed it out to everybody, and they all opened it at the same time, and the tears that were coming from these folks' face, because they had never, this idea of I want to do something, and then now having this moment where there's this accountability, and from this future reader saying thank you so much for writing your book. Because you wrote your book, I was able to reconcile with my child, or I was able to finally start that business I've always wanted to. And so what you guys are talking about is so kind of in line with our DNA of creating experiences for people, because what the gift is certainly what they're going to learn, but the thing that lasts, the transformation happens in those experiences, and it's in the little things as well. Is how are we creating from the moment that they arrive, and not just, I know we're talking a lot about IMC, but it's also too just what is that member experience, that it's the little tiny things that we were thinking of them. And so that's fun. So we love thinking that way as well. So never think, oh my gosh, it's too much of a cost of time or resources, et cetera. It's for us, I believe that it's our duty, and there are always creative ways. As Chris is learning, I'm always like, let's find someone to pay for it. Like, let's go find a sponsor. Let's go find an opportunity, and because we want to be creative, and we want to bless them, and we want to give them something that truly that truly changes the game for them, which is fun. So you guys have my creativity juices flowing. I love this stuff.
It would be amazing to do, you know how Jesse did the video when people buy a ticket to the Savannah Bananas? It would be amazing to do a video for when people show up for, or when they sign up for IMC, or when they sign up for the team, that they get this quirky, amazing greeting them kind of video. You create it once, and everybody who signs up for the team then has the ability to receive that. And maybe do you do a different one for each IMC, so that each time they sign up, they're starting to look forward to that cool video that they're going to get welcoming them?
That's an interesting idea. That's it kind of reminds me when you go on Delta. Delta has like the unique, slightly humorous safety videos, instead of, which actually makes you pay attention more, but you kind of remember it. So that reminded me of that. I like that idea. That's good.
Yeah, and we do have the software where it can actually be personalized through AI. So it's a standard script, and it inserts the person's name. So you can do that. We did buy the software a couple of years ago for that. We were going to use it for the onboarding. Still haven't got to that point yet, but part of the onboarding process. But I think the biggest thing is the community, because it does make us unique. What we used to do back when we were a lot smaller at the IMC is we actually had a book with everybody that was registered and their table number and the country they were from, so that they could find fellow countrymen. And what I used to do, and I did this for probably about 6-7 years, until it just got too hard to find everybody. And Donnie, you may still have yours, is I would hunt down any of the Canadians I could find at the IMC, and I would give them a Canadian lanyard to wear with their regular Maxwell Leadership lanyard. And that's how I got to know everybody that's in the Canadian. And I said, if you meet a Canadian, tell them to go find me. I'm at table so and so, because I've got a lanyard for them. And it helped create that sense of community, so that they could spot each other. Oh, you're from Canada too. It's a way of creating that connection and community, because, well, personally, I find the Canadians tend to disappear into the US when we're down there. We're mistaken very easily for Americans. People still think I work in Florida because I work with Chris. I'm like, no, I'm in Toronto. I work virtually. So it's a way of creating that connection. And we do have a number of regional Facebook groups for members in certain areas. I'd love to see a little more oversight on that, because we have had ones that deteriorated into just a pitch fest from the host of the Facebook group. John Griffin's been working with one that's doing it on WhatsApp. but I'd love to see us have a little more regional connection, especially at the IMC. You know, who's in this area and I want to connect with, and a message board where you can say, I want to connect with so and so. My table number is, that kind of thing would be a great way of helping members connect with each other.
It's good.
Something I just wanted to bring up, and it is from the past, right? When we used to do the hotel key card. I don't know if you remember that. We did it for many, many, many years.
The custom hotel key cards.
Yeah, so it would have the Maxwell logo on it, and that would be your key card for your room. But it's funny how many people kept those. I mean, I know Marriott was probably mad because you're supposed to hand your key card in at the end, right? When you leave the hotel. But a lot of people kept those because, wow, this was my key card at the event. Ooh. And so it just gives them a memory. And you know what? If they put that up on their bulletin board or in their little, rainy day file, and they go back and look at it, it's not just the presence of them being there, but when they go home, they look at it and they go, oh, I remember how I felt. I remember how I felt when I was there, and I love that feeling, and I want that feeling again, and I want to go back.
Very good. A lot of memory association with that. Super good. All right. Gab, how you doing on time? I'm trying to respect your space for your time. Your
No,
time.
you're fine. I pushed my thing back so I'm good till 10. Well, my 10:30. So in 9
awesome.
minutes.
Okay. You're 10:30. Okay. And then how about you guys? I would imagine we've been together for an hour and a half. Do you want like a 5 to 7 minute kind of break, maybe at 10:30? Would that work for everybody? So I don't know who needs a coffee refill. It might need to be a coffee refill. I know I'm going to go fire up the espresso machine and get some coffee on that break. Okay. So we'll do that. Awesome. Gab, do you have what else do you want to cover? Mike Wigline, that's so cool. Are those all the coins?
This is just me being very selfish for a second. On the sales and marketing side, you guys are gonna hopefully love all the questions I'm gonna ask you. So sales and marketing growth, we want to make sure we're attracting more of the people that we want. Now, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. The coaching space has become very commoditized, where a lot of it is, get rich quick and very transactional. And, I could grow our top line just by having big promises and selling John's name. We're not doing that. We won't do that. And so I want to make sure every single thing that we do is attracting the people that we want. Like in sales and marketing, we say all the time, you get what you write. So I would love to hear from you phrases that people say, or maybe you have said, that if we said this, our people's ears would perk up. They would say there's something different about you, because sometimes it's just the nuance of things. So it's a great example. Yesterday, I was talking to someone who's considering publishing with the Maxwell Leadership Publishing brand. And I had spent 45 minutes with this person. We didn't talk about faith or leadership, or I just talked to him about his business. And then last night he texted me and he said, are you a follower of Christ? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, I could tell. It's and many of you have probably experienced that, where there's just a values exchange where someone just knows, who you are. It's like there's something different about you. There's a vibe, there's a vibration, there's a connection there, whether about faith or leadership or values or any of those things. And so it's not just what we say, it's how we say it. But I'd be curious, and this would just really help me too, as we're reimagining really our funnel. I want to get more of you guys. So what about what we do? What is the language, the phraseology, even just something that you would, call up and talk to your best friend about, that you say, gosh, you've got to join this because of, what are some of those things for us to keep in mind?
I love it. I'll be selfish, right? I mean, this whole thing, we are people of value to add and multiply value to others. That's who we are, a leadership team. And depending on the phase of, like, if you've got somebody inside of an organization, Gab, that's wanting to grow professionally inside the organization, I was that guy too. And the reason I joined that team, to have access to content to take it inside my organization to make a difference. That was the heart, because I love where I was at. I love the team. I had access to a content and a team that can help me do that. And that's what I did. So for me, that attracted me. So if I'm writing a funnel for that particular person, I will write a funnel specifically to attract them, right? Now, for a person that's wanting to go on their own and up level their business, entrepreneurship, or build a business, that funnel will be, hey, if you're looking to scale your company with access to team members at the highest level, we have access to content we have that you don't have to recreate. It's already pre-written for you, which is, tell me I don't have to write content? It's already pre-written for me. Absolutely. Where do I sign? So just having that piece of content you have to recreate is already written for you that you can help up level your business in any capacity. That's a funnel piece for that. So I think it's different funnels for different people depending on who we're trying to attract. So that's what I'll look at.
But to that point that Michael is making as well is just really, how do we convey that message of the breadth and the depth of what we offer as a team? Because working with the youth team and on the youth side of things is that oftentimes members are so surprised that we have youth content, that we have the youth certification. And I'm constantly, we're trying to get that message across to people, especially for adults that are like-minded, that come to the organization. Many of them, if not all of them, maybe not all of them, depending upon what their deep desires are and their purpose for being here, are open to having their young people involved as well. Sometimes it takes them years to find out that we have a youth program. Some people come for other things and then again are pleasantly surprised that, oh, I can do this as well. So is how can we convey the breadth and the depth of what our offer is to people? And that even if they come to us like Michael, only looking to for content within their organization, but to really understand what the offer is, because most people, it takes them a while to figure it out. It takes them either getting to IMC and going like, oh, there's all these other things that I can do. And sometimes even after they've been to IMC, it takes them the second and the third time to go, oh yeah, this makes sense. Because people come often with blinders on, that they're only focused on what they came there for. But there's so much that we have to offer. So how do we, and that might be a horrible marketing idea, Gab. I don't know. Like maybe it's like it's too much to share with someone to be able to engage them and have them keep coming back and then eventually to hook them. But some way, how to find a way to just really convey the depth and breadth and the richness of what we have to offer. Because people are often like, oh, you have youth things, especially on the youth side of things as well. And then I would also say that because the opposite happens as well, is that they don't understand. I think everybody, especially anyone that we are going to attract, wants to be a better person, wants to have a better life personally themselves. So even if they do come specifically for something that's corporate, but just really understanding, for me, a funny story. I have been a learner of leadership. I was reading books like that in my teens. I was in my corporate career and I was following a lot of leaders and really deeply engaged in personal development. But I'd never heard of John. And I was deep into my own business for youth and fooling myself for a couple of years thinking I'm just going to write some youth leadership content because my content was focused on STEM and STEAM. And I'm like, after a couple of years, I was frustrated. My heart was set on incorporating this into my business. And I thought, well, maybe somebody out there wrote some leadership for youth material. And I Googled it and John popped up and I don't know who this John Maxwell guy is, which I was shocked after I really learned who he was. I'm like, how did I not know him? But I'm like, I don't know who this John Maxwell guy is, but I don't care. I literally joined the certification that very second, like within 5 minutes of my Google search. I'm like, I am all in. I am being certified. And then I got a call from Lorna shortly afterwards. But just under, and so I joined for that, but didn't realize how much personal growth I was going to get out of it. And then there was periods of my journey where I was just fully immersed in my own personal growth, even though that's not the reason why I came. Hopefully I was able to express that in a way that made sense.
That, Donna, that helped me so much. You have no idea. That really helped give a lot of character to what I've been thinking about. How do we articulate how do we attract someone who is leadership minded, who wants to be a part of something more. But what you just said was, I assume someone's already done it. So this idea of going after leaders, and Michael, you kind of said something similar as well, is, for the leader who doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, who wants to optimize what is proven as a framework, to be able to spend their time doing rather than creating. And that is really, really very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Yeah. To be a little contrarian here, I think, because I've had a number of people that have actually joined the team, and then there's probably twice as many who have not. And really being able to say, this program is not for you if you're not into personal development, if you're not and really being able to convey that message. And this program is for you if this, and this are true. So having both that contrast of saying, you know what, this isn't for you if this is where you are in your life. This is not for you, and that's okay. Because we are not for everyone. But what I hear and what I know is it's the depth and breadth of content that we have that can meet you wherever you are and whatever it is that you want to do in the area of people, skills, and development. It's not going to be for you if you're looking to be a financial advisor, for instance, because this is about people skills. It's not going to be for you if you are, understanding that the difference, if you're looking to develop your Excel skills or your hard skills, this is a program for you if this is what you're looking for. So it's the breadth in the area of people development and communication, and it's the lifetime access. You have lifetime access to the basic core programs and business development resources. If you want to go to a higher level, or you want to we've got that for you, but you'll never lose access to the basic program. That is key. And it's an affordable access. I have one member, everybody here remembers Joyce Diaz. She joined, but she had been in a program before. She spent $25,000 on a similar program, and in 6 months the company went belly up, and that's it. It's gone. $25,000. So you have this lifetime access, and that is really key here, is that, and it continues to grow, as Chris talks about on the new member meet and greet. It continues to grow. When I joined back in 2011, we had 12 calls. That was it. There were no resources. Nothing was up on the platform yet because it was brand new. That didn't come for about 6 weeks later. And it was still just the basic core, but we add to it. We've grown. That's one of the things that attracted me to the resource committee and PAC was it was sold as a business in a box. And I'm like, well, not really, because where's the flyers? Where's the mastermind guides and lunches? We had one lunch and learn script. We had 3 flyers, and that was it. So I've been, for the last 10 years, I have been working with the PAC, building out all of our resources so that we've got mastermind guides for all of the content. We're still working on filling in the gaps for the lunch and learn scripts and the coaching guides and all the marketing materials, because we've got, well, over 20 books now that I have to fill the gaps for. But that's my passion there, is making sure that everybody has the resources and they're fully equipped in whatever area they want to take, whatever content they want to take. So having that lifetime access to the core programs and knowing that it's always going to be there, and it's an affordable price compared to what these other, and I'm going on here, when I first looked at joining something like this back in 2010, 2011, I was looking at coaching programs and they were anywhere from $16,000 up to $85,000. I kind of said, not right now, thank you very much. but you know, $5,000, which is what it was at the time, and thankfully the Canadian dollar was on par at that time. It was so much more affordable. It's where most people are able to do, especially if we have that payment plan.
It's a perspective too, and this is great, Lorna, because I have an example that just happened this past week. So one of the members who was on my team at church, she learned I was a Maxwell coach, and she was like, "Oh, I love John Maxwell. I've always wanted to be a Maxwell coach. How do I go about it?" So I did a referral for her. And the program advisor, Shanita, came back to me and she shared with me what the result was. And I saw her again at church this week. And she said, "Wow, I had no idea it was so expensive." And I think we have to really, and which I'm sure you are, Gab, be aware of that. That's going to be someone's perspective. And I'm like, oh, if you only knew, if you only really knew. Yet at the same time, that's reality, right? We're going to have people like my friend who are going to say like that's too expensive, and she's coming up with a plan how she can join in the next year or so. But still, like, we have to remember that for some people, they're going to think it's expensive when we know it's not.
Yeah, but invite them to compare. Go to all the other programs, check into them, and then come back here last, because we want to talk to you last. I know now this is going back probably about 7 or 8 years. I talked to someone who was approached by the Action Coach, $65,000 to join, and then $75,000 each year to stay certified.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like,
that's a spike. Man, I thought the Amex Platinum annual fee was rough. It's $700, but man, that's spicy.
75. You know how much you have to make in order to be able to clear that first?
You got to be doing good.
Yeah. And then they wonder why they only have a few people, but it just blew me away. 65 and then $75,000. All those 3 zeros after that? Yep, that's what it was. She didn't join, but when you invite them to explore all the other options out there, they're going to come back here because we've got the diverse of the content. With Action Coaching, you have to do it in this way and that, and you've got your district. You can do it however you want, whichever way you want. You've got lifetime access, and it's only $5,000 now. It's $7,500 now with the Canadian dollar. But, and understanding that there is that dollar difference for international, but still 5,000, and that's who you should be attracting, is where 5,000 is like, okay, it's a stretch, but it's not, I can't pay, I don't have to pay $50 a month. For me, although we want to help them, I don't think it's really helping them. We're not leading them well if we're not helping them steward their finances well. So saying, oh yeah, well, you can pay $50 a month, and like, I think you need to save up the money first. If this is programs for you, start putting $50 a month into the bank. And when you've got $2,000, then let's talk.
I have got to jump, team. Please keep, I think Antoinette, I saw your note. Thank you for being kind here. And I wish I could stay up with you guys. Now I get why they were like 18 hours meeting with PAC. I get it. Y'all are so fun. I love it. I'll have Brian, I would love for you guys to continue sharing with Brian as well, because he also too helps on the marketing side. And I'm going to check out the notes afterwards. But I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you do, the space that this takes up in your brain and in your heart, and the sacrifice that you put in to make this available for other people. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. It is truly, this is the lifeblood of the entire organization, and I'm very, very thankful. So anyway, I'll hand it over to Brian, and I'm excited to see those notes. Anyway, appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Gab.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. Well, we can go on a break. All right. How about that? Let's do, let's max at 7 minutes. It's 10:40 now. We'll come back. What is that? I'm at 10:47. How about 10:47 Central? How about that? We'll see you guys
Right
in
on.
7 minutes, and then we'll jump back in.
Right on.
Just by a minute. We go into this, Gabrielle and I go into this the office that we're about to move out of, or we're in the process of moving out of here in Dallas. And it's a really beautiful building, like big, the big marble lobbies that you walk in and all of that. And Goldman Sachs has some of their offices in there and stuff. And so what's hilarious to me is you see these people go to lunch for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, how do you get anything done? You show up at like 9, you talk to your colleagues for like 45 minutes, cycling around the office, take an hour and a half lunch, leave the office by 4. How much real work is getting done by you guys? Like because guys, I just made coffee and ate lunch in 7 minutes. So I don't know how these guys, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing for an hour and a half in this building. It's so funny. Anyway, you guys have noticed it before. They're probably relationally connecting and all that stuff. I'm sure they would never avoid their work. It's fine.
Delegating, Brian.
Yeah, they're delegating so they can go to lunch for 90 minutes. It's good to be with you guys. And then Antoinette, I want to make sure that we get to your comment that you wanted to share before Gab left. I saw that there in the comments. I want to make sure we do that because I'm excited about the rest of our time together. I've definitely got a good series of questions and maybe some brainstorming thoughts that we can do together. But Antoinette, I want you to go first since you were in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. So and I say this at the risk of, not coming with another idea for a solution to the past question. However, it triggered when she asked that question. I'm like, I'm glad she asked that question because it's triggering something for me now. And what it's triggering is, because we're all being honest here, so I'm coming out and I'm going to say it. I am getting really triggered when I see these latest Facebook ads of the warning, we need coaches, we need you, because it feels like just the opposite. It feels like we need anybody. We need you. And I don't know if
That's amazing.
anybody's monitoring the comments, because there's some really wow comments on there. And I'm like, okay, is anybody from Maxwell reading these comments? Because I don't see any like responses or anything. Or like some people will say, well, I reached out and I hadn't heard from anybody, things like that. But then some of them are really like, hey, they're acting like we need you, but this is a sales pitch in that if you need us, then why are you trying to sell us a certification? And to be totally like going a whole other level, I have actually been going, I hope none of my clients are seeing these ads because it makes me feel it almost makes me feel kind of like I'm a sleazy person.
Oh.
And anyway, I just said it. So.
Antoinette, I want you to know that I have a lot of opinions about our advertising too. So that's okay, because we're probably in alignment on a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
So
and I got to tell you, I was really nervous saying that because I mean, I know I'm like, am I going to offend somebody? But
nope.
You asked, and I got to say.
Safe space here.
Right
Safe
on.
space here. Gabrielle and myself come in with that responsibility, sales and marketing responsibility. I feel like all of you know this, right? You come into the door, you get 3 jobs at Maxwell Leadership. So I got at least 2. So president and chief marketing officer is under my responsibility. And then Gab and I have this really amazing relationship as a couple. I'm a lot more architecture and whiteboard, and Gabrielle has an unbelievable persuasion bias, but also ethical persuasion bias, but also execution bias. And what you just said, we share in that opinion. And so it's for us, there's a whole strategy coming into 2026 in terms of how we're going to start looking at our advertising, et cetera. So it's totally safe. That level of candor is what I'm looking for. All right. I love that stuff. Never going to find me hiding from that stuff. I want to hear it. That's good. Very good. All right. Well, I finally get to ask some questions. I wanted to make sure Gab had all the room in the world to ask some questions to make the most of our time with her. We continue to be incredibly grateful for the time that you're giving us today to do this. Let me say a couple of things. First of all, I'm scrolling. My iPad is filling up. I'm on an iPad. So like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know, Chris, you felt this way before. You're like, I got a Remarkable, I got an iPad. Which one do I take notes on the most? Do I stop using one and start using the other? And the thing is that I've got the iPad when I do these Zoom calls in this studio in particular, because sometimes I whiteboard. And so the iPad allows me to take notes and whiteboard. And good luck to our executive partner trying to centralize all my notes.
I've had that debate, and the Remarkable loss, the iPad loss.
Remarkable lost.
And I always end up right back here.
I still okay. I have fallen in love with the Remarkable, y'all. That is, Gab's got one now too. So I was in a meeting with Mark and a couple other people, and I'm writing on my Remarkable, and Mark has a Remarkable. But Mark takes his Remarkable and lays his on top of my Remarkable and realizes his is smaller than mine. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, Mark. I got the new one. I got the one that does the color and all that stuff. And no less than a week and a half had Mark already gotten the new one on, I think he might be number 3 on the Enneagram, a little competitive with even the Remarkable and the update. So just everybody know that Mark has gotten a new Remarkable, in case anybody wanted to know that fact. He's got the newest one. There is no newer one. But if there is, I'm going to get it first. Just a little competitive. So where I want to go with this is kind of 2 things. I want to continue to ask some questions that help me understand. And I might even want to brainstorm a little bit with you. If we could be a little creative and do a little bit of workshopping with you a little bit. I want to drop some context first that, time has flown by. The conversation of Gabrielle said it at the beginning of her remarks. Doing this wasn't on the vision board for us, y'all. We didn't know that this is where we'd be even 7 months ago. I think I'm trying to do math on all the time that has gone by. But I've been sitting in this seat now for about, I want to say 65 days, somewhere around there, about 65 days. And it's been a little bit of a blur. It's been very, very fast. And then the conversations before that timeline started 3 or 4 or 5 months before that. And so a lot of time has gone by. A lot of notes have been taken. And for me, it's been an incredible time to observe. And for me, I'm very entrepreneurially inclined. So I like to go really, really fast. But for me, it's been really good to have the time to breathe and observe something that is very, very valuable in its DNA, in its values, in its ethic, in its community, to not only understand the big picture, the 30,000 foot view of all this, but to also understand the nuance of it and how special that it is. And I've taken very detailed notes on the nuance and how special all of this is that we get to do together now. And so the thing that I wanted to say as a frame for the next part of our conversation is a couple of contextual backdrops. One, it's a very interesting era that we're in. We were in the social media era. Now we're, thank you, Lorna, you're right, totally right. We're in the social media era. Now we're in the AI mixed together with social media era, and that's real fun, right? I think Gabrielle's like, man, you talk to that AI bot a lot. I mean, I do. I use AI like 2 to 4 hours a day. If you don't use AI 2 to 4 hours a day, come on, catch up. I use it a lot. And very, like, as a thought partner, a really deep thinking thought partner, which is probably given Gabrielle a bit of a break. Everybody assumes that I probably speak more words in our relationship, and Gab would agree with that statement. And she's probably grateful that AI exists, because now I ask her less questions than I do about so many things that I could probably now use AI for in terms of creative brainstorming. What's interesting is, and I was sharing this with Mark and Chris, I've shared this with you too, that we have an unbelievable opportunity in the era of AI. And what I mean by that, you might think, oh, does that mean we're using AI? No, I'm actually not even talking about AI, because social media set the world up for a pandemic of loneliness, depression, anxiety, lack of personal growth, lack of long-term thinking, lack of having a positive self-image, or understanding who you are on an identity level, or knowing your purpose, or being a good leader, right? This era of AI has actually will make that worse, most likely. The era of loneliness, anxiety, and depression, it will probably make it worse. But here's the cool thing. As I've been observing and spending so much time with all of you and many others, is the special sauce here isn't the content. The content's amazing. We have so much content. It's amazing content. The special sauce is the intentionally designed community. Unbelievably so. I had a conversation last year, about 30-minute conversation with Chris Hodges. You guys know Chris Hodges, pastor of Church of the Highlands. And I was asking him, what's the number one lesson that you've learned scaling impact through small groups? And he had he's like a machine. Has anybody met Chris Hodges in person? He is a strategic machine. Okay. This is a person who understands strategy, machine, operations, etc. And he said, here's the deal. It's not about the content. He said this. He said, here's how you do it. What you do has to be scalable and transferable to a team or organization of any size. Scalable and transferable to a team or organization of any size. 2, the content is the excuse to create relationship, because it's in relationship that people change. Lateral relationship, next to each other relationship, round table relationship, right? He said that's the essence of what scales impact through small groups. I asked Craig Rochelle the same question. Hey, if you get 20, 30 minutes with these guys, they're like the number one in the world at what they do. You better have a question in your pocket. Okay. I asked him the same question. He said essentially the same thing. He's like, over time, I found out that the content didn't matter. He said it had to be good, baseline, content needed to be good. But he said at Life Church, at the beginning, I thought we needed to have the same consistent content across all small groups at any given time. He's like, it didn't even matter what I found out. It didn't even matter that the small group content didn't even relate to that week's message, because he thought he had to have all that aligned and all that stuff. He said, well, if there's a group of bikers, right, that want to do a small group, the bikers can be studying different than this group of moms over here, dads over here. He said what mattered was that content was once again the excuse to get in relationship. And back to the Chris Hodges thing, he said, I'll prove it to you. You're a speaker. He's like, you're a speaker, right? And I said, yeah, I'm a speaker. I love speaking. And he said, well, then name me the 10 speeches that changed your life. I'm like off the top of my head, I mean, as a speaker, you might have a little bit more. I had like 3 to 5, I think. He said, great. You can't even get 10. And he said, by the way, most pastors can't name their last 10 sermons. And he said, but I want you to name me 10 people, individuals that changed your life. I was like, that's easy. And I rattled those off really fast. And it really speaks to the DNA of what I've had the opportunity to observe, and you guys already know, which is the DNA is the intentionally designed community, the vertical relationship with leadership in that community, and the lateral relationship to each other, which is, I would argue, potentially even more important, way more important. And here's why it relates to this era that we're in. The era of AI, the world needs community and belonging more than they need, not just their certification or content or access to all that helps them be successful. That's a given. We got to deliver on that. But they need connection and belonging more than anything. But here's the cool thing. There's not a larger, more excellent network of people in the world capable of doing that. Find me another. Find me another that have the same values, that have the same DNA, that have reached, I don't know, probably combined over 15 million people in the nonprofit and for-profit. You think about all these things. Nobody scales transformation through networks of human beings better than Maxwell Leadership, period. There's a lot of motivators out there that have a lot of followers. That's different. That's different. Nobody scales human transformation like we do. But I think that's what makes us the ones that get to be this hope, right? We talk about being dealers in hope, this hope to a generation that will experience loneliness, depression, anxiety more than previous generations because of the era of isolation that we're in. And I'll say one last thing. I was kind of exploring and researching that. What does John call it? Sustained thinking on that very idea. I said, well, interesting. If loneliness is this symptom, then what's the root of that? And AI had a whole bunch of things, but there's one phrase that stood out to me. By the way, the value of your AI chats is always about the programming. I spend a lot of time programming before I start asking it things. It said the cause of loneliness. I'd never seen this phrase before. It's such a good phrase. The cause of this loneliness is an existential disorientation. Wow. That phrase hit me like a ton of bricks. Existential disorientation, which means I don't have confidence in who I am. I don't have a confidence in where I came from. And I don't have confidence in how to make decisions and navigate my life. And perhaps, how on earth, if I can't do that, how am I going to navigate other people? So I wanted to drop that as a context because I look at you guys and I spend time with you guys here. And I'm like, wow, what a special group of people. That's what makes this so powerful. Like you and I get to lead together with Mark, with the whole organization, and scale human transformation better than anybody in the world. I don't know. I don't know if can it get more exciting than that, y'all? I don't know. I don't think it can, especially when you see the lives change. Okay, that's my context. Where I want to go with that, what would be very helpful to me, I would love, since all of you came through the Maxwell Certified Team experience, and you're all part of that team, well, I want to know what 1 to 3, you can do 1 to 3, it doesn't have to be 3. If you only have 1, that's fine. 1 to 3 things that you would say absolutely, hands down, bar none, made me think this isn't just a certification. This is a community. These are my people, and I want to be with these people. Like, so what were the moments, the things that you experienced on the almost, let's call it on the customer end before you where you are now, that anchored you that way, where you're like, these are my people. And we can play a game popcorn here too. It's whoever wants to go first. If you need a little bit more think time, you don't have to go first. Totally fine.
I'll go first. I remember, Brian, when I first joined the team, unsure. I know I want to join the team, and I received a personal call, just a connection. Typically, you get phone calls from different organizations, but it was a, hey, we care, want to make sure that you understand your journey, kind of where you're at. Received that call. But then when I jumped on a different call, it was almost like, hey, we want to help you get to that next level. Almost, they took away some of the guesswork. If I go deeper, what made it part of the community, when I had some hard times, I felt open enough to share with the community. For example, I had surgery on my face. I had cancer being cut out, right? And being able to share that with the team, it was more than a certification. You know, you found your community, right? A lot of people know, hey, he grew a beard, but why did he grow that beard? It's because I got this huge cut on my face and I missed the IMC because I had a huge. But being a part of that, when we part of the mastermind team, Antoinette, remember me, we was in a mastermind community. And there was a guy that was there that had cancer, and he knew that he was on his last breath. He was dying, but the only thing he wanted to do was lead a mastermind. That was it. And I never forget. And we brought him in a community. He felt part of a team, and he started leading masterminds inside of the community, right? He would go take chemo. He would come back inside of that team and doing just that. And he eventually passed away, but he left a message for the team. I still got the recording. He left a recording for the team and how grateful he was and how thankful he was for the team. Whoa. Part of, right? So outside of just the certification, what we build inside of this, hands down, is community. All right.
Man. Mike, well, I would say you could pick somebody. Maybe that person's not ready yet, so maybe we'll stick with popcorn.
All right. I'm gonna go with Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
get a mid-bite. Get a mid-bite.
Right. Yeah, you know, for me, it was just walking through the doors that first time and knowing that I was in a room full of people that had a desire to coach, speak, and train and, you know, pursue this personal growth and getting paid for a living idea and concept. You know, if I think about early people, like just in my first IMC, I spent a whole lot of time with Joyce out by the pool. You know, I wasn't there when she fell in, but you know, but I spent a lot of time out there with Joyce. And
Joyce, be honest, Joyce, did he push you? You tell me. You tell me if he pushed you. Did he push you in that pool?
Give her a little shove. You know, she just kept talking, give her a little shove. Oh, well, whatever. But it was those late nights. It was hanging out, talking about these concepts, these ideas, these aspirations of reaching, you know, speaking on stages, impacting people's lives, you know, creating an income to do it. And I was able to find people that were doing it at an intensity that I wanted to do it at as well too. Now again, there's all types of members that were still there at that very first event, some that weren't aggressive, some that, you know, didn't know what they were there for. But when, you know, your perspective is right, and you'll find what you're looking for always. You know, so if I came in there looking for why this doesn't work, which there was a member that was adamant that he was going to find why the program wasn't going to work for him, you know, he found it. Okay. And so for me to be inside this room, it really was those conversations, those like-minded people, those people that I could connect not just with at the event, but in between those events. So I was a part of many different, you know, self-led mastermind groups, accountability groups before we even had formal programs. I mean, there wasn't, I mean, I can tell you how many different groups I was a part of in between just trying to figure this thing out. So it was the communities in between the IMCs that were so important, but those were all self-driven as well too, and highly intentional. So, but it was walking in that very first IMC, like I just knew it was home. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So good.
And My hand hurts, y'all. We're gonna do this for another hour and 50 minutes. I'm gonna need you have to put my hand in a cast. We're gonna have to get a splint.
No, you're just going to have to use the AI text speech to text.
Here's the thing, Lorna, there's been a few times where like, this time I'm not going to take all these notes. And then that's when the AI transcription fails. Without fail. That's when the AI transcription is like, first of all, give me like a weird report.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't make any sense. And
it doesn't make any sense. It's making weird associations. Or it like emphasizes way the wrong things. Like I've gotten AI transcript reports that are like overly emphasize the introductory 5 minutes, which was just like chit chat back and forth and like all that stuff. And I'm like, where's the content? Like, where's the stuff we really talked about?
Right.
Oh yeah.
This is so good.
Not to sound like I'm copying Chris, but as a founding member, it really was one time, and it was walking into the room in West Palm Beach in 2011, and I knew I was home. It was, if people know me, I move fast, high energy, go deep fast, and it was people that could keep up with me. They matched my energy. They matched my direction and where I'm going. We're able to get past all the fluff and go deep into topics. They had no problem talking about what this personal growth looked like, and how are we going to change the world. That was the biggest thing for me. It felt like home. I finally found people that get me, that really understood what I wanted to accomplish, and they're trying to do the same thing in different ways, but they're trying to do the same thing. That was the most impactful, and that's when I knew I was home and I wanted to stay connected to this community. It's the conversations around the table, in between sessions, and by the pool after the sessions, and then continuing the conversations on the Facebook group and staying connected that way. That was the biggest impact for me when I knew that this was family.
Wow. Now, a lot of cool overlap, but also a lot of cool nuance between each of you. This is good. Who's next?
I'll go. I wanted to take Michael's point, which I thought was really good. And that's one thing I love about our CARES committee on the Connection branch, is they reach out to people who are hurting, who've lost people, and they connect with them one-on-one. And when the new member finds out that we know something, and then Chris writes them a letter, or we send them a note card or a thank you or a sympathy card or something that says, I hear you, I see you, outside of the normal nuance of the team, really has something that pulls on people's heartstrings to say, hey, they care about me. And something I heard, joining is not belonging. Just because someone joins our team doesn't mean they feel belonging. And when I first joined, and